Hello everyone, I'm George from Ireland. So this video is about the death of Rush Limbaugh. Rejoice, rejoice, because death is not always mournful. Somewhat gladsome tidings I had from the United States today. Limbaugh shall not be missed by any right-thinking person. He was a vile, racist, lying bigot, a spiteful, reactionary ogre who just radiated odium. So I'm very glad he is not spreading his baleful influence through the United States and abroad, and just expectorating hatred against all sorts of vulnerable groups, guarded him hundreds of millions of dollars. Wow. Would he have done it if there was no money or kudos in it for him? Perhaps not. Was he sincere? I mean, I suspect he was, that he actually believed what he said. Maybe not all the flagrant lies, but his loathing for ethnic minorities and so on, or for gays, I suspect that was genuine. His propagation of white nationalism, I say that, I mean, I don't think he actually called for Hispanic Americans or African Americans to be deprived of their citizenship, but certainly his xenophobia, his railing against legal immigration. Now, obviously, there's scope for a debate on immigration. There are downsides as well as positives, and I think it's completely acceptable to scrutinize immigration and discuss some of the negative repercussions of it, as well as some of the boons it provides to the country. But he was not simply analysing disbenefits in a dispassionate fashion. He was lacerating people who legally moved to the United States. So he was a Trumpist. He was a shock jock who was really famous by the 1990s. He just was spreading malice and mendacity, weaving his wicked magic over the body politic, and that obviously had an effect. Only a couple of years ago, 8% of the American population listened to him. He was perhaps the most consequential radio broadcaster in the United States, if not the world. So he blazed a trail for others. There's Stephen Crowder, who's a more upbeat, chirpy, approachable, and almost charming version of Rush Limbaugh. There's Ann Coulter, who's perhaps a more cerebral but just equally vindictive female analogue of Rush Limbaugh. There was Milo Yiannopoulos, who was an utterly insincere, contrarian, gay imitation of Rush Limbaugh, despite Limbaugh being viciously homophobic, just celebrating when gay people died of AIDS. Now, okay, I'm up for gallows humor. I think there's a room for black comedy, but he would be lacing this in with what was supposed to be serious political commentary. Now, Dinesh D'Souza is a much more erudite, restrained, and considered version of Rush Limbaugh. Now, I don't disagree with everything Rush Limbaugh said, and Dinesh D'Souza, okay, he's on the money. Ben Shapiro, likewise, and I don't think Ben Shapiro is racist except towards Palestinians. Much as I disagree with him on things, perhaps it's unfair of me to bracket him in the same category as Limbaugh at all. So Rush Limbaugh, who was rather fond of cake, he was morbidly obese, nothing to hold against him. He's died at the age of 70. So now there's this Republican civil war which is going on, and he won't be there to take sides. You know who would have taken Trump's side. Trump has obviously lamented the passing of this stalwart ally of his. So he died of lung cancer, and Trump rightly said that Limbaugh is irreplaceable. But they've got other Republican commentators out there in the media. So Rush Limbaugh was someone who didn't complete higher education. That doesn't reflect any discredit on him, but he was seen as an authority in all sorts of issues. He was an ignoramus, and perhaps sometimes he knew he was lying. He coined the term feminazi, something I haven't entirely disagreed with. And okay, let's say, I mean, they're obviously decent feminists. I agree with first wave feminism, perhaps second wave feminism, not third wave feminism, definitely. But I mean, if he often excoriated Islam, wouldn't you find Islam actually quite attractive in its attitude towards women's rights? Limbaugh, he propagated all sorts of fallacies, claiming that coronavirus is just a common cold, and dangerous lies like this. this had a real impact on people, scorning people who were suffering from AIDS, heterosexuals, as well as gays, and things like that. Or what did he said about that woman, Miss Fluke, who told Congress about how much contraceptives called her, calling her prostitute when she absolutely wasn't, and a slut, and so on, for bravely discussing something quite personal, perhaps faintly embarrassing, with a view to shedding light on a matter of public concern about the affordability of medicine and so on. So he was really loathsome, rebarbative, noisome, nauseating. So I'm very glad he's gone. So there we are. There are a few more like him. I think he's somewhat inimitable. He's often was urging Trump on to start completely avoidable wars, saying that black people looked like Reverend Jesse Jackson, and often trying to perpetuate this idea that black people are felons and things like that. So really disseminating racial animus. He was vile. Very glad he's gone. That is Rush Limbaugh. Sadly, there are a few more out there who are still spreading these sort of nostra. That's enough from me. Toodaloo.